If you're a female founder who avoids difficult conversations until things are on fire, you're not alone. Most of us were never taught how to speak up with clarity, courage, and compassion. And in this episode, I'm giving you the exact framework I teach all of my clients on handling difficult conversations, so you can stop spinning and start leading like the CEO that you really are. Welcome to Female Founder Unplugged, the show where we cut through the noise and have a real, raw conversation about what it takes to build and scale a successful business as a female entrepreneur. I'm Lindsay White, people strategy expert, leadership coach, and fellow founder. And I know firsthand the challenges of scaling sustainably and staying connected to your passion along the way. This podcast is for ambitious women just like you, seasoned founders and CEOs navigating the challenges of leadership, team building, and sustainable growth. In each episode, we'll dive into those topics that are most important to you as a female founder. You'll hear honest, no BS conversations about building, growing, and leading a team and culture so that you can grow without losing yourself in the process. Because let's be real, entrepreneurship can feel isolating, and leadership doesn't come with a roadmap. If you've ever struggled with the pressure of running a business, felt overwhelmed by growing your team, or wondered, how do I scale without sacrificing my vision and my purpose? You're in the right place. Let's get unplugged. Let's be real. Difficult conversations suck. We don't like them. They're uncomfortable, they're emotionally charged, and most of us avoid them like the plague, sometimes until it's too late. But as a founder, avoiding hard conversations create cracks in your business. What happens is you keep underperforming team members for way too long because you're fearful of the reaction from them and from your other employees. You allow misalignments to fester with clients or with contractors, and that creates significant delays and impacts your revenue. And you burn out because you're carrying the resentment instead of resolving the issues. Here's what I want you to hear very clearly right from the start. You cannot lead well without learning how to navigate hard conversations. And I'll say that again. You cannot be a truly effective leader in your business without learning how to navigate these difficult, crunchy conversations. They are part of the job and they are part of your role as CEO. And the more confident that you can get in your approach, the easier this is going to become, the more capable and more confident you will be at having difficult conversations. So before we jump into the how and I give you the tools and the techniques, let's talk about what's getting in the way. Because for most of the female founders I coach, they are often dealing with some kind of saboteur. That's that internal head trash that you hear me talk about over and over again that is actually getting in the way. And there's one or two that are definitely at the top of the list. So number one, this is the one I find most often. This is the pleaser. This is, and I'm a card-carrying member of this club, folks, so I'm with you in this. This is where we don't want to rock the boat. We don't want to hurt people's feelings. We always want people to think that we are nice and we're keeping the peace. But the truth is we're actually avoiding having these conversations, and it is costing us. It's costing us time. It's costing us capacity. It's costing our mental health. And ultimately, it's costing revenue because we want everyone to like us. And that's not practical when you are a founder and you are a CEO. The second saboteur that I find gets in the way is the stickler or the perfectionist, right? We wait until we have the perfect words, the perfect time, the perfect plan. And then you never have the conversation because perfection isn't real. It doesn't happen. It's never achievable. We're looking for progress. And so what we need to be able to do is have the confidence to approach the conversation in the moment that we need to have it and do it in a way that we can feel really confident about what we're saying, but know that it's never going to be perfect, and that's okay. And then the third saboteur that often can get in the way is the martyr, right? We really feel like we have to carry the weight of others and their bad behavior because somehow we feel responsible. And I got to tell you, I was speaking with a founder just the other day Now, I want to be clear. You do have culpability in this, right? There is always accountability for us as the CEO. We are the most senior leader in our business. But when this saboteur kicks in, what we're doing is we're actually blowing up our level of accountability. It's outsized. And so what happens is we just take it and take it and take it because we feel somehow that that's what we deserve. And we'd rather burn out than speak up. But that's not really functional, because if you're burning out as the business owner, your business is going to burn down around you. And that's not what we want. So I want to ask you, just pause for a moment. Can you relate to one of these or more than one? I think we really have to do some deep self-reflection first to understand, why do we struggle so much with these conversations? Because the first step to having better, crunchy conversations is noticing what your inner voice is doing. And that's what's keeping you stuck and unable to really talk about the hard things in your business. So if you need a moment to pause, just hit the button, take a moment to do some self-reflection right now. So let's now talk about how. This is my clear framework for difficult, or what I like to call crunchy conversations. So this is the model that I love to teach, and I use it with founders who are hiring, firing, delegating, and just trying to be a more effective, more impactful leader. And isn't that what we all want to be? So let me break it down for you. First is the letter C, and that's about centering yourself. What we don't want to do is rush into these conversations filled with adrenaline, right? Just take a beat, ground your nervous system, and ask yourself, what's the real issue here? What do I want to walk away with? What is the result that I want out of this conversation? Start with the end in mind. And don't worry about taking a few moments and a few deep breaths to really get yourself centered before you enter these conversations. So the L in clear stands for lead with curiosity. Instead of assuming the worst, start with a question. Can you help me understand what happened here? This really opens up the dialogue and really creates a space for connection and conversation. And the truth is, there may have been something happen that you didn't even know about. So give the other person in the conversation an opportunity to offer some of that explanation. And what that's going to do is give them a chance to have ownership in the conversation and not feel quite so defensive. That's where these difficult conversations start to break down a little bit. So really lean into your curiosity and leave the assumptions behind. The E in clear is about express the impact. And these are the pieces that often get left out. We need to use some I statements here to really help who we're connecting with, who we're giving feedback to, an opportunity to understand what's happening because of their behavior. Now, we want to be specific about what isn't working and how it's affecting the team, the business, the client, or other outcomes. So here's an example. I noticed that project deadlines have been slipping, and I'm concerned it's affecting our delivery promise to our clients. Can you help me understand what's happening or what's getting in the way? Do you see how I did that? I layered it together. I expressed the impact, and then I brought in some curiosity. So now we're starting to really create space for a really impactful conversation. All right. So next is the A in clear. And we need to ask for what we need. This is another step that we skip over all the time. So we want to clearly state what needs to change moving forward. What do we want to see done differently? So again, here's an example. Moving forward, I need to see weekly updates every Friday so we can make sure we course correct early. Or I need to see you put updates in the file so that I can know where you're at when I talk to the client. Again, you've been very specific about what you're looking for in terms of the behavior change that you need to see. I hear this a lot where a business owner says, I need you to take more accountability. Well, what does that even mean? If we can't describe what that accountability looks like so that people know what we want, they actually won't be able to meet our needs. Your team is awesome. I'm sure they are, but they're not mind readers. You have to tell them and ask for what you need. All right. And then the R, we want to reinforce the relationship. So you want to close out the conversation with your intent. And this isn't about blame. It's really about growth. So try something like, I'm sharing this because I value our working relationship. I really care about you and I love the work you do. And I want us to be successful together. All right. So that's it. 5 steps. That's all it takes. Listen, I want to acknowledge this isn't easy. This feels deeply uncomfortable. But with these 5 steps, this clear method, it's totally doable. And it's super powerful because now what we're doing is we're reinforcing the connection. We're giving clear expectations about what we want. We're really helping people to connect to the impact. We're being deeply curious. And of course, we feel totally confident and in control and completely centered in our leadership so we can deliver this powerful message. Well, my friends, there's some really cool changes that happen when you actually get really good at this. And I promise you, with practice, with reinforcement, and with a little coaching from yours truly, you can actually get really good at this process. Here's what shifts when you get good at these crunchy conversations. So number 1, your team's going to respect you more. And they're going to see your leadership shift. And ultimately, that's going to result in better performance from them. Number 2, your client relationships are going to become healthier and more honest because when we can have really clear, really direct conversations with our clients, we create a better connection with them. It just gets stronger and stronger. Number 3, you're going to stop carrying all of the silent stress that is killing you. And you're going to start operating with a great deal more clarity. Again, your team isn't a bunch of mind readers. When you are clear with them, they can deliver for you. And guess what happens? Productivity increases and so does revenue. And number 4, you're going to reclaim your energy. You're going to reclaim your time and your power as a leader. This, my friends, having these difficult conversations, this is a boss move. This is about you really stepping into the CEO role. This is how you build a culture of accountability. I think that's what we all want. And you can do it without being a jerk, right? Without being that mean boss. It's how you're going to lead from a place of values, vision, and not reactivity. My friends, you don't have to dread these tough conversations. You just need a framework, sort of like the one I just gave you, and the confidence to use it. When you lead with courage, clarity, and compassion, you don't just grow a business, you're also growing your own leadership. And the best way to build that skill, join me at my free live masterclass on July the 24th. Difficult conversations in difficult times, because let's be honest, they're never easy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through this framework, give you real scripts that you can use, and show you how to navigate conflict without losing your cool or your boundaries. So whether you're about ready to hire, you're ready to delegate, maybe there's someone needs to exit your business, or you're finally ready to confront that client who's driving you up the wall, this masterclass is for you. Mark your calendars, July 24th, and you can grab your seat now through the link in the show notes. And hey, bring a friend. These convos are always easier when we're not doing them alone. And I know you know someone who needs to get better at having these difficult conversations. So I'll see you on the 24th, but until then, lead with heart, grow with purpose, and stay high voltage. Thanks for tuning into this episode of Female Founder Unplugged. If today's conversation resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Connect with me on Instagram at High Volt Leadership and send me your questions or let me know your biggest takeaway. Looking for more strategies on scaling your business, building a powerhouse team, or leading with confidence? Head over to highvoltageleadership.ca or follow me on LinkedIn for exclusive content, resources, and special offers just for listeners. Until next time, keep leading, keep learning, and remember, The real magic happens when you're unplugged.